Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce CRMatics video session 119. So basically in today's video, we will just understand how we can write through a recipe to a .csv file. Honestly, it is just like whatever things we have done through export note in data flow. That same thing only we are going to replicate. Honestly, if you tell me the practical application, I haven't in my working experience till now haven't seen that much. But again, just for knowledge, we understood the export note. So we will understand, with the .csv file how we can write the data set and how that actually gets stored as a repository in the Salesforce org. And we will of course validate by checking it through Workbench. Okay, so again the process is completely same, just like we did for export node. So I will just show you that minor difference which is there for obvious reasons. So I will go to data manager, I will go to manage data flow, we'll go to data flow and recipe. I think in one of the session I didn't do much actually. It is I think free session 10. So what I will do is I will just utilize this. Okay, so I think here let me check if I created anything. Okay, I created a lot of things over here, as you can see, but I never actually, ensured that it gets saved as a data set. So what I will do is I will just take this scenario. So again, just to give you a brief, nothing much over here. So I have this opportunity. Okay, there are some few fields over here. Fine. And with that, what I did is basically I just created one transform node. Fine. And that's the thing. And finally, what I will do is here, if you see, there are quite many number of fields which we have. Okay. So that is fine. What I will do is here, probably I will drop a few fields. Okay. So let me go for that option of drop. Yeah. What I will do is I will just keep a few fields. Okay. Because this is anyhow just for testing we are doing. So what I will do is let me close everything up. Yeah. Fine. So here, whatever I did, I will just take the ID. Okay. I will take the name. Fine. And I will take the stage name. Okay. Or let me take stage bucket. That is also fine. Okay. So I've taken ID name and the stage bucket, which is a new derive field which we created when we understood that concept of bucketing. Fine. And finally, what I will do is I will just go to this output node. Fine. In the recipe section. And here, let me just write it as writing to .csv, that doesn't matter. And here, write to, I will go for CSV. Okay, so save as a CSV to the Salesforce database. As you can see, it's getting saved, but not like literally where you can download some CSV. It's like more gets saved into the Salesforce database as a repository. And there are various ways. I haven't tried it honestly. There are some links which I can show you. Maybe you can try that out. Okay, but again, it's a long process, and I feel that is not much needed until unless there is certain situation where you need to do it. Okay, so that's the thing. So I will just click on, as you can see, when I write this CSV, one shape comes up. Okay, it's a six-sided figure. Okay, you call it as hexagon, I guess. Yeah, hexagon. So the thing is that over here, this particular things pops up, and in a normal data set, you don't see that when you go for a normal data set. Fine. Yeah, that's it. And what I will do is here, there are various ways, like you can use this fully qualified names in CSV. So what happens is column names use the fully qualified name usually in the format of this. For example, output the fully qualified name actually instead of the column level. Yeah, what happens is, for example, like here we have stage name underscore bucket. For example, I just want stage name, or the example which they have given, maybe where let's say through an outbound node you are bringing one field from an account, let's say billing country, which is on the right side. So instead of account dot billing city, it will just pop you as billing city, a proper name. That's it. Okay, not much that useful. I feel you can do that if it's very much necessary, and specify CSV partition settings, which is fine. We won't walk through that much. But what I will do is now I will click on save and run. Fine. And while in the meantime it is running, I will also open my workbench. So we have the workbench over here. So this will be production 62.0 and login. So I will go to the SQL query, and the first thing first, I will go for that dataset part which was there, which is dataset. A dataset export. Okay, and the fields I will choose is probably ID. I just need that. Fine, publisher info and publisher type. I think that's enough. I think that didn't run, I guess, till now. That's why it's not popping up. Maybe let me go to monitor and yeah, unless this runs fully, it won't pop out. So let's monitor this as of now. It's fine. So as you can see, this recipe ran successfully. And what I will do is here, I will just again click on query. Now, as you can see, I have this output 0, which is fine. But this is the one related to recipe. Okay, so with data flow, happened here. Okay. So with data flow, we have something called opportunity underscore export, and with the recipe, we have something called as output 0. Fine. I think you can also check the created date. So sometimes you might feel that, okay, there are a lot of records, how to check that? You can go for created date. I don't see any other way. So if I pull in the created date also, I will check the latest. So, as you can see, this is the latest one. Fine. So what I will do is I will make a note of this ID. Of course, that's the first step. Again, the same process which we followed on data flow, we will follow that process. So I will make a note of this ID, of course, over here. Fine. And after that, I will again go to the SQL query. I will go to now the next point, which is the data set export part. And from here, I have to select the ID and I have to select the, this one, data set export ID, query it. Okay. And here I have to write a where condition. So where you can also take the help of this one. Okay. I usually feel writing it is much easier for me because I'm used to writing the SQL query. So where my data set export ID, okay, where my dataset export ID will be equal to this ID, which I've just now noted down in my notepad, which I've taken from that other object. Okay. But anyways, here we have anyhow too, you can make a random guess by taking the created it, but that's fine. Okay. I'm just doing this just to let you know, like in case there are too many records fine coming up. So anyways, now what I will do is I will open this particular ID, right? Now this is my ID of the object dataset export part, right? So again, I will just copy this and I can write it down over here that, yeah, what I've written earlier as well, that ID of dataset export part. Okay. So this is that ID. And now what I will do is I will just copy this above. Okay. I think that format, you have to keep it ready. You can just take it down from here. I already have this ready and I will copy this ID over here. Okay. And I will just completely copy this and I will paste it in my workbench. So I will go to utilities, REST Explorer. And here I will just paste this and I click on execute. So as you can see here, opportunity name, opportunity ID, name, stage bucket. Okay, everything is popping up. So we have this ID, we have that opportunity name, and whatever the bucket is it in, whether it's in open or close stage. Okay, that's what we did when we learned in one of the session about the concept of bucketing in recipe. Fine. So again, as you must have completely seen, it's completely the same procedure, just like we did on data flow. And if you observe the difference, nothing much. Like here, I can also have written some proper transform node, which is fine. So I can just write over here creation. So always make it a practice to write common, proper names. Okay, that is very important, and that is something I think I've got used to. Create a node. Fine. Okay, I can save it, run one more time. That doesn't matter. But the main thing what I want to show you is, like, if you go to that data flow which you created for export node, I think it was done in the last session, which has to be 15th. So here I simply took that SFDC digest node and I exported it. So what happens on recipe side is, like, you can take any node, of course, I mean, which will help you to extract data either from internal or external source. This is an extra thing which I did. I mean, it was already done in one of the sessions. So I just utilized that to create this. But the main point is over here, instead of that export node, which you have on data flow, you have to go for this output node in recipe. And under output node, you have to select this right to, by default, it's data set, but you have to select for CSV. We already walked through that output connection, which is fine. So with recipe, through that output node, you can not only create a data set, you can also create connections. Okay, like you can send the data to some other particular applications. So in our case, we just walk through that Salesforce external log, and you can also make it as a CSV where those data will get stored as a repository in a Salesforce database. Fine. So that's the thing, and that is something I've utilized Workbench, and I've seen it over here. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's the thing. Now the thing is that it doesn't end over here. So there's a way where you can also extract this as a CSV file. Now I will just tell you one link where you can actually watch that. I think if you search with export node in data flow in Einstein Analytics, okay, just search with this. And there's a particular article which is written. Okay, it was written on the year 2020, but I think this is something I myself had actually went through that whole article, and I myself implemented it. I knew it took much time for me. It was quite a few years back, but I was surprised by the result it brought, and it actually showed me that complete CSV file. Fine. Honestly, if you tell me to do it now, I don't think so I will do it, because this is a little bit tedious process. Okay, and maybe I don't enjoy it that much, because you have to kind of follow that complete step and have to follow a few things which you have to write in the application. But if you see over here, okay, up till here, like export your Einstein data set, creating a data flow we have done. Okay, this part I have covered. Where your data flow is, you can check that, which is also fine, which I have covered. Then from that dataset export part object, you can actually fetch that, which is also fine. This is up till here only I have done, right? Up till here only I have done. Now basically, as you can see, this is a very manual process. So let's look at the dataset for utilities as mentioned in the introduction. So if you install some plugins, they have mentioned some plugins, you can actually install that. Okay, you have to follow a few command window which they have mentioned. Fine. They have also provided the link, you can actually download that. Okay, and once you download, you have to just follow this step probably. Okay, the way they have written this whole step. And if you follow that whole step by writing whatever commands need to be written on the plugins, once that is done, what you are going to get is basically, I am just going to the ending of this section. After you follow this complete process, that you will have a CSV file. Okay, I think somehow they have not shown it here. Okay, so somehow this will come, and finally you will get this file where you can see that complete CSV. Okay, that complete CSV will be downloaded over here. That's the whole beauty of this plugin. And as you can see, they are also showing it, that Excel file, right? So that's the beauty. Through that plugin, you can actually ensure that is. And there are many other ways like Salesforce CLI. But again, I won't like to try that out once again by showing it. You can follow this article for sure. Okay, so yeah, that's it about this session. I hope you enjoyed this minor concept, but yeah, it is quite knowledgeable. And yeah, let's meet very soon in our next video. Thank you.